Photography. Beverly and Dereck Joubert on what makes a good image and how photography has changed. The legendary pair share their thoughts on the craft of photography, what goes into a great shot, and what they hope for the future of wildlife. Red-billed oxpeckers create a winged dance around this giraffe in Kenya's Olare Motorogi Conservancy, eating ticks and pests off her body while stealing her hair to make their own nests. 2023. By William O'Connor. Photographs by Beverly Joubert. October 18, 2025. More than 40 years of photographs by renowned conservationist Beverly Joubert have somehow been winnowed down to a few hundred of her most powerful shots for a new book, Wild Eye, A Life in Photographs. An elephant wading through a pond that shimmers like hammered gold, a melee of wildebeests fording a river, and I want to go to their natural landscapes. These are just some of the photos that grace its pages. Joubert and her filmmaker husband, Dereck, both National Geographic explorers at large, worked together on the book and sat down with National Geographic to discuss their process, their hopes and fears for the natural world, and to give advice for would-be wildlife photographers. An elephant, Loxodonta africana, getting agitated with the amount of zebra, Equus quagga, oryx gazella, eland, Toratragus oryx pattersonianus, sharing the watering hole with it. The book is a retrospective of sorts with shots from decades of your work. What made you want to do this kind of work now? Dereck Joubert, I can answer that. I think it's a midpoint in Beverly's career. Laughter, it seems like an opportune moment to get it out the door and to start a fresh. No, we've seen some significant changes in the environments in which we work, and we wanted to catalog that now. And then probably revisit again in 20 years or something like that and see if it turns around, which would be the hopeful version, or if it stays the same. So, it's a sort of benchmark in some ways, for all of us. Beverly Joubert, if we look back at our journey over the 40 years, and this is both in photography and in film, which we have been doing recently as well, we can see the immense change in the policies towards the environment, not always for the better, and in the burgeoning population slowly surrounding these last remaining wilderness areas, which can be catastrophic in so many ways. So we tried to bring this to the forefront in helping us celebrate the last remaining pristine wilderness areas, and hopefully we'll get hearts and minds wanting to assist in protecting them. Flocks of lesser flamingos feeding on algae, they dance and create patterns between water and air. I'd love for you to talk about the process. I can't imagine the total number of photos you've taken in your lives. How did you go about picking the photos that ended up in the book? She became an amazing ambassador around the world. Funny enough, going through the photographs of her 40 years, she definitely had to be the cover. You don't want animals to scare people. We feel that the only way we're going to protect animals is by their eyes. If the soul of an animal connects with you, you're going to fall in love with them. And so that's why the cover became what we call Eyes Like Honey. Dereck Joubert, I think what you've seen in this book is the tip of the iceberg. Beverly's out there shooting 10,000, 20,000 images a month and picking one or two out of that each month. So there's not an image within this book that, as I look through it now, I go, that's maybe not as good as the other. This is really that selection of 40 years. Motorogi is the Swahili name for Egyptian geese. Here, they dance away from young lions that playfully try to catch them in Kenya's Olare Motorogi Conservancy, 2023. But all games can end poorly for those who do not dance well. Are there particular shots, for lack of a better word, that you are still chasing? Beverly Joubert, as animal lovers and animal behaviorists, we are always chasing the unknown. And it is remarkable that we can feel that we haven't captured everything, because then we might as well hang up our cameras and film cameras and just stop. But the unknown for me is being totally open to whatever it is. And nature surprises us and me all the time. We were recently in Alaska, and my eyes were opened wide, in the beauty and being with humpback whales so close up and seeing the grizzly bears. Discovering new animals, as well as new interactions, is always there. For instance, when we started in the 80s and into the 90s, we started in a time where there was a huge change, a huge shift in our area, and the whole area dried up for 27 years. And so what we were witnessing, no scientists had ever seen before. And I suppose that has kept us always enthralled and looking for that unknown of what people haven't seen. And that's how we were the first to capture lions jumping on elephants and bringing 4-5-year-old calves down all the way up to a 21-year-old cow. So, yes, open at all times, waiting for something new. Dereck Joubert, from a parallel film point of view, it's a fool's errand to chase the photograph. The photograph will find you and the opportunity will find you. The more you chase it, the more distant it becomes. Beverly Joubert, but saying that, you can't just expect it to happen without doing the time. We're out there doing the time. We have the patience, 16 to 18 hours a day, waiting and observing. Beverly Joubert, yeah, that was with a huge amount of difficulty, I have to say. But through 40 years, I would always be going through editing. Looking at the most iconic moments, or the most iconic image that actually has mystery, that tells the whole story. It's not just an image that has been captured, the story is the mystery, and through that, over the years, I have always kept a selection. Funny enough, they weren't necessarily always the images that ended up in the book. The process was ongoing. So Dereck and I got to an edit that we felt was important in what we wanted to tell, and that was closely connected to our films, and then we got that to National Geographic. They got to their selection, and then there was a wonderful collaboration where our creative minds all joined together and the book unfolded. But I must say the book unfolded in a very different way to the normal photographic book. We always had our filmic brain of not just wanting an image and a contrast to the next one that it wasn't telling a story. We always wanted the color, the hue of one image to blend to the next. We wanted a story to blend. And I think that's really what happened in the book, very different to all other books we've done. Dereck Joubert, part of the process is we broke them down into chapters that reflected or was symbolic of our journey, starting with awe and then going on to these other things. So the selection of photographs went into these various bundles and we sometimes made choices on whether of those were representative of what we were feeling at that time and space our careers. A buffalo herd alert and wary of a hyena walks by just after a much-needed rainstorm that creates new beginnings. Were there any images that were particularly special to you as you were putting the book together? Dereck Joubert, all the ones that are in focus. Beverly Joubert, obviously, you see, even on the wall here, gestures to a poster of the leopard on the wall, we have the cover, and we've lived with this image right through COVID. We thought that she would be a great spirit, to keep the energy of the African wilderness alive. This particular leopard, we called Legadima, meaning light from the sky. We named her after a lightning bolt that hit very close to her and us, the compassion in her eyes, because we had been with her for 4 years so she knew us, we were another animal in the forest that she had a bond with. In fact, we almost felt that we were surrogate parents. I suppose we saw her as a surrogate child, seeing that we never had kids ourselves. She was the inspiration that drove us to start the Big Cats initiative at National Geographic. We realized that the numbers of all big cats were declining over our lifetime, and we wanted to do something. So the film we created was on her, Eye of the Leopard.